So, guys, welcome to another and to a free workshop AMA kind of a session. And today's topic is why does your marketing need to be data driven? And this masterclass, this workshop, it was going to be very interesting. So let me go to the second slide. Yes. So let's see today's agenda, So first of all, I'll introduce Bhuvana. And first of all, thank you so much, Bhuvana, for joining the session. And we'll discuss around, data, what kind of data is needed for marketing, why data-driven marketing is very important in this day and age, and some important ways to use data. And then we can talk about how do you become a data driven marketer. Then we can take your questions because this is a AMA session. It's a free session. You can ask your questions. You can unmute yourself and ask, and you can put your questions in chat box also. So yes, let me introduce Bhuvana first. Bhuvana is having more than 2 decades of more than 2 decades of experience, in marketing professional. She is associated with information technology and different service industries also. Currently, she is the CMO of Randstad in India, which is a good placement agencies in India, and she's having responsibilities, across communication, digital, social, brand, and lead management. She's having expertise includes product management, integrated marketing, corporate communication, crisis management. And she holds her MBA in marketing and strategic management. And she practices yoga, love trekking, and she follows all kinds of sports, including F1 racing. So very, very warm welcome, Bhuvana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes. Let me go through the questions now. Shall we start with the discussion? So, Bhuvana, let's discuss around first question is what kind of data is necessary for marketing, if you can tell us.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. And I think that's where the whole discussion itself starts, right? Like what data does marketing need data, and what kind of data is needed for marketing? So to me, marketing without data is like blind dating. Like it's literally like shooting in the dark and, taking the risk of not hitting the mark every single time. And if you really see the amount of data that is generated every day, it's about quintillions of data. We don't even know how many zeros. It's definitely more than a trillion. So without data, you're only offering an opinion. And, the customers definitely don't want our opinion. They want to know what really works, what doesn't work. And, they want us to be able to understanding them, right? At a higher level, I would say, customer financial operational data is needed for marketing. And there are 4 types of customer data. Marketing and customers kind of like, are on the same line. You need to be completely related there. And it's identity data. That's the first one. That's the most basic information that identifies an individual. Descriptive data, behavioral data, and qualitative data. Like I could just go a little more in depth into it. Identity data, all of us kind of fill this day in, day out. Any app that you download, anything that you, filling a form, you are going into, collecting customers' age, name, gender, all the demographic data, which basically defines and creates the buyer personas, right? Which gives a clear picture of what kind of people are interested in your products and services. And this allows you to determine your target demographic as well. Especially if your company uses a CRM tool or any such tool, right? So you can then store this data, organize, segment, and centralize this information in one place. And then you can use this data to filter customer segments, and which can be useful for personalizing campaigns. That's one of the key things that marketing does as part of their role. The second one that I was mentioning is the descriptive data, which you need to dig a little deeper to get a genuine sense of your customer persona also. Just by taking the demographic data, you won't be able to identify the persona. So the first data, the quantitative data, you businesses collect automatically, but descriptive data, you need to go a little more, work a little hard to get that data as well. So you either conduct interviews or ask them to write in responses, do in-depth surveys to acquire that information you need from your customers voluntarily. So that's the key word here in today's world of GDPR and security of data and all of that. So customers will have to be able to give that voluntarily. So the way you ask the question also really matter when getting information for marketing. And from there, you actually target customers who are in different phases of the sales cycle itself. And that leads you to behavioral data, which helps you, actually assess your customer's pattern when using your products or services. And that's like possibly browsing habits, online activities, social media usage, and their buying behavior itself. Knowing, so from a marketer perspective, you need to know what keywords they use to find your website, the devices they use to view from it, the amount of time they spend on it further, also allows you to optimize the customer journey to generate more conversations as well. And this will help you effectively, go through the touch points of that your customers interact with. And the crux behind the qualitative data is to discover how customers genuinely feel about your product. This is interpreted based on their opinion, review, sentiment expressed on various channels. Constantly, we keep telling, our teams or creating teams to do social listening, right? So that's one area where you're collecting that qualitative data as well. Review sites, or sometimes even via email or through chat on your web page. That's where you get all of this. You can use social media monitoring to listen to what your customers are saying about not just your product and services, but about competition as well. That also sometimes lead to, changing the way you do business with them, right? So that insight also reveals who your loyal customers are. So you can tap into potential brand advocates if required. And it also tells you which area of your customer communication and marketing strategy needs more improvement as well. So in all, whatever data you're collecting from a marketing perspective, it's essential that you have a strategy in place for analyzing the success of your marketing efforts and to continue to do so, right? So whether it's data analysis, personalization, and insight to predict as well. So all of this, you'll need to kind of bring it down to a data-driven marketing strategy. And this is what you need. These are the, basic data that you need. Then you get into metadata, then you get into, getting into micro data as well. So that's like at a later stage to be able to target them better. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, right. Bhavana, then next, if I want to add, so you said there are too many datas right now. So traditional marketing was different. So how it started, like how people are focusing more on, data-driven marketing these days. Now, how the journey, begins from the traditional marketing to today data-driven marketing.
I think it's always been there. Okay, but it's the way the data is being collected today is a lot more digital, technical, and it's in the customer's hand. Earlier, it used to be like a push, like there were forms that customers would fill, right? I still remember when you're doing research, especially when you're launching a new product. I've done this research in college. I would go and ask people what kind of television shows they watched, and there was a surveys that used to happen, and that used to be collected. The actual paper, right, used to be collected, and then go through the data and then make notes, collect that what do you say, responses that go across the same kind of people. All demographic data has always been collected, census at a country level, at a marketing level, on consumer products, everywhere it has always been. But today it is at the discretion of the customer as well. It is at the tip of your hands, right? You can give data through your mobile, or you can, you could be just browsing just to understand a product, and that data is captured, and then you're, shown data. I think it's been a very gradual, but also sudden at the same time. Data has always been there, data collection has always been there, but the technology has kind of redefined the way we've started collecting data, and possibly in the last 10 years, it's evolved. And last 5 years, it's evolved very, very quickly. And there's a lot more focus on MarTech, I would say. The technology has been there, then there is MarTech now. There is a huge stack of marketing technology also available for us to be able to look at customer data. And the evolution has happened. I think the customer has driven that evolution because the way they want personalization, customization, they want everything to be delivered to their liking, right? So that evolution has happened in the last 3 to 5 years.
Right. So meanwhile, guys, if you have questions, you can ask Bhuvana. You can unmute yourself and you can put a question in chat box also if you want. Okay, moving on, Bhuvana, so another question. So this is like very common layman kind of a question. No, why now data-driven marketing is very important?
So as I said in the first question, right, data, without data, you're just offering an opinion, right? So that data is power. Okay, it's how you can understand what your customer wants and need, and effectively grow your business, right? That's the main thing. The answer to how you can provide better and more personalized experience for your consumers lies in your collected the insights that you derive from the data itself. Today, if you order something, let's say on Amazon or Swiggy or even Uber for that matter, you get that personalized experience, right? They give you back that experience, and that is possible only because of the data and insights that they have been collecting over a period of time. And with today's digital landscape, we're saturated with massive amounts of data. So it's critical to figure out what data is valuable as well. So that way, marketers don't have as much budgets as they did in the earlier years, right? So it's not any more experimental. I believe that marketing people need to have that business alignment as well. And we need to be able to take advantage of constructing very strong marketing solutions and effective strategies using this data. So it's beneficial for the business as well. Main benefit, I would say, is the specificity the strategy offers, improving the ROI and overall success of the campaigns itself. When you improve both accuracy and speed of marketing campaigns, your efforts are more efficient and more effective. As I said, you're not shooting in the dark. You know where exactly your target is. You're able to go right after it, and you're able to, get the game going. And if you look at a lot of research that has been happening, marketing campaigns or marketers who've used data-driven campaigns have experienced over 5 times ROI. That's one of the key things marketers need to deliver as well, compared to the marketing spend to initially hold the campaigns, right? Without data or insights. And data-driven marketing, strategy is actually very, very crucial for success for the organization as well. Let's say you're given 100 rupees. Which customer will you go and target, right? You need to be able to identify that persona, that particular person, and the probability or the potential of the customer is really required, and that can come only through data. And it also provides, clarity on your target audience to better market your product to them. The same customer or the same segment of the customer may want to buy different products from you. So that again comes from the behavior that they are displaying online or, on social. And predictive analytics that comes, and for that you need a lot of data, right, to start with. That helps to anticipate future trends in your consumer base. That's again very important, and a lot of actual business ideas have been evolved based on the predictive analytics as well. Right? Discover best channels. As I said, if you have $100, where will you put your money? Will you put it on advertising? Will you put it on search? Will you put it on SEA? Will you put it on, mobile marketing? So you need to be able to decide that. And if you're going to put the money somewhere where the customer is not available, then you're putting the money down the drain, literally putting the money down the drain. And definitely improves the customer experience of your current audience, and also provides that window for the potential audience to come in as well. Also, it allows you to calculate the total addressable market as well. That while you have consumer data, the rest of the data, which is like market data, that allows you to understand the total addressable market, what your competition is doing, what is happening in other industries, also. And to, as a CMO, what I also believe, and I keep telling my team, is also to align with sales, right? They have a target, they have a funnel, they have final revenue to make, and how can marketing really contribute to that? And that is possible only by contributing to each part of the funnel that you're driving, and that leads to that final point on delivering new revenue also. So that's why it is really, really important. The final box of delivering that revenue is what your eyes should be on, and data-driven marketing delivers.
Right. Very, very insightful, Bhuvana. So I'm getting lots of DMs, by the way. So shall we take up those questions?
Sure.
Yeah. So Richa Sharma is asking how we analyze this right data. How we analyze right data. Yeah.
So one is you have to understand what you're trying to do with that, data itself, right? What first of all, you need to see if the data is complete. If the data is not complete, then you'll not be able to use it properly. That's the first criteria. And the way I see it is that whether your starting point and the ending point at least match to some extent. Like if your target audience, you've gone after, let's say, 50 people, and if the conversion is, let's say, about 20 to 30% of the final one that come in as leads for you, then your data is fine. And then from the leads, the conversion of the funnel from there to actual revenue, like actual customers, if that's again about 20%, then your data is fine. Also, if that data is duplicating all the time, like if you, that means you're going after the same audience again and again. So you have different ways to kind of gauge that, and you need to be able to go through the data every now and then and understand who is consuming your campaign, right? Whether there is drop-offs, where like people might actually land on your web page. You may be able to get them to the web page, but if they're dropping off, that means the content is not okay. So that data is like, you need to go and revisit that data. So at every point of the funnel, as I was mentioning earlier, you need to be evaluate whether that campaign is working or not. So that's one way to do it. And today you have a lot of analytic metrics, Google analytic tools to be able to, do that job for you, to see if that data is validated, if the data is complete, if the data is working for you as well. So I would say do a combination of both technology and the insights to be able to gauge that on a, but consistently you need to be evaluating this to see whether you're on the right path. That answered the question, Richa.
Yeah, Richa, you can speak up. Else we can take another question. I think Shum is asking, how is business analytics different from online marketing analytics?
It's connected. I would say I don't see it to be very different, at least in my experience. Online marketing analytics is restricted only to that particular channel or the digital part of the data that you're collecting and the analytics that you do from there, whereas the business analytics is a lot more deeper. It's a lot more connected to other sources of data as well, right? So you already have, let's say, business data coming in from other sources, from sales, in fact, or from other studies that you're doing that may not necessarily be online. It's possibly through speaking to the customer, right? You do collect that qualitative data. As I said, there's a lot of in-depth interviews that you could connect. That is there. And business analytics is a lot more wider, deeper, and online marketing analytics is just one part of it. It's not the be all and end all of business analytics.
Right. I think Gautam Malik raised his hand. Yes, Gautam, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Bhuvna. Thanks for such insightful session on marketing and specifically data-driven marketing. So I'm also one of the digital marketer in one of the firms, specifically handling data and insights, generating insights. But with the whole, you might be aware that there are a lot of GDPR compliance that have recently been upgraded, and
Yeah.
they're still being there are policies that are being framed, and very stringent policies for that matter, because now they're taking the privacy policies and the identification data, which you were talking about, the identified data that they're taking very seriously these days. So now what they're doing is they're coming up with removal of the cookie-based tracking.
Yes, yeah.
So which is one of the biggest concerns among the marketers these days. Because now what earlier we were able to track where they are coming from, what is the behavior, but those critical informations will be missed now. How do you foresee what can be first thing, what impact? Obviously, it will impact a lot, but is there something different that can be done to overcome this impact and possibly have a solution in place before this thing comes into the it gets enforced all across the world?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's caused a lot of, it's undoubtedly a source of conundrums for many marketers and publishers. And, it's been in the discussion for quite some time. But while having said that, what I also, have been seeing, and that's one of the reasons why they've also been pushing it out, actually, this entire decision of removing this. I mean, how since you are a digital marketer yourself, you know that Google has been pushing this decision also, right? So that two things that I've been hearing, Gautam, is one is from other CMOs and marketers as well, is the first party data, right? That is going to play a huge role, and volunteered data by customers on different channels also. That is going to be the other thing. And that's going to kind of redefine the way we obviously are going to target or put our monies behind cookies and the way we market. But that's going to redefine the entire cookieless marketing also. The thing is that how long is that going to take? And that's definitely, there's no deadline that has been defined, but I think 20
Right.
is when they are talking about whether that would be the marketing of tomorrow, which is 2023, when the world will actually become cookieless. And by then, I'm sure there will be other ways to collect this data. That's one. And that's why I was saying the way you actually put down your questions, like kind of to trigger that entire volunteering of data by the customers, right? And what data do you really need to target them? Do you need so much? And Gautam, you would know this also, that till about, let's say, 2020 or 21, we've been collecting way too much data than we really need as well. So that's kind of caused that entire hesitancy from the customer itself to start with, right? If you see that in 21, we're trying to reduce that to, let's say, 3 or 4 key questions that you really need to target that customer. So I think the marketers have also are pretty smart people, and I'm thinking that we will come with a better way of dealing with this by 2023. But first party data, volunteer data is what I'm hearing as solutions, at least until now.
Yeah, even I feel that the marketing funnel will change all, because intent-based marketing, where we used to track that whether the person has an intent or not, that is gonna go for a toss. And if we don't have that understanding, then I don't know how are we gonna track it.
I think we need to have a better understanding of, I was also reading, I know we are digressing, but for the interest of everybody, I think I was also reading about, interesting, I think it is on Twitter, and I can share that with the Advoc team as well, on how this entire persona mapping is a waste of money and time. Okay, it was really very interesting for me also, as to how you really don't need to do that. So then does it really matter, right? If you already know who your target audience is and where do they, where they are, and where you can target them. So do you really need so much more information about the customer? So it's the other side of the coin, Gautam, is also to understand the pain point of the customer, other than understanding the demographic of the customer. Let's say, for example, a college kid and a person who's working and has about if you have the same pain point, does it really matter if you are of the age group of, let's say, less than 20 and or you're at 40? If the pain point is going to be resolved through your product and services, and if you as a marketer or as a business even, right, it's not just marketing's problem, if you are able to understand that pain point and able to provide that solution, then I think that problem is solved. So that's where I see the evolution happening of understanding the customer and the focus being on customer service and delight.
Thanks, Bhuvna.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gautam, for the question. Moving on, Bhavana. So what's her name? Yes. So Shrija is asking question, how can marketer make best use of data available and drive useful insights, and how much interconnection is good?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I'm not.
Yeah. How can a marketer make best use of data available and drive useful insight, and how much interconnection is good?
Okay, so data is just like raw material, first of all, right? So you're just collecting that, and the best way to collect the data is, you have different channels that either your organization or whatever you're working for, right, has. And even as an individual, if let's say you run a blog, you want to know who is reading your blog and so on. So that data is basic data, and then so probably you don't need too much of an analytics there. But when it comes to an organization or a business, you definitely need to be able to store that data in one place. Like typically a CRM tool, or any marketing tool like HubSpot would help you to kind of keep the data in one place. Or an ATS in our case, where it's HR services as well, right? So there are different technologies available to store the data and then also help you analyze and bring out the insights. I think that's the one that I was mentioning in the beginning of the segmentation of the customer itself, or through their behavior, or through products that they have already bought. So let's say they bought product A, then the insight is yes. But if the product A is a long-lasting product, are they going to come be your repeat customer? So that's an insight that you get out of that. And you may be wanting to sell them a product B, which is aligned to product A, and that's something that the customer really wants. And the insights could be in terms of whether they are actually, consuming your product, whether they're happy with the product, whether they want to, expand their own business as well. Is that the conversation that they're having? So there's so many more insights, and data and insights actually go hand in hand. Without that, there's no use of data at all, I would say. So definitely, if you're having data, you should invest time and energy in getting out insights also. So that's the plain Jane connection of that. And with that insights is when you will be able to run campaigns or reach out to your audience.
Yeah. So next question she's asking, as you said, HubSpot and CRM you can start with, but she asked, what are some tools and skills, you can suggest for new age marketer they can start with?
Yeah, I think first of all, don't be worried about numbers. I see a lot of marketing folks scared of numbers, right? So math, they say, oh, I was never good at math. So don't get scared of it. Math and numbers are two different things. That's something that I learned over a period of time. So all that is one. Second is you could take up any digital marketing course to understand the basics, right? But it's only when you start working and applying that knowledge, you'll be able to, see what is relevant to that organization and apply that, and understand the marketing tools also. It's not just normal tools, but it's slightly different, taking you through the customer journey, allowing you to, draw out that customer journey map, and also, build a dashboard, if you will, right? So to be able to look at different parts of the data. So you need to have a basic understanding of one, digital marketing itself. That is definitely a skill you could develop. Whatever area of marketing you take up, it doesn't matter. Please get an understanding of digital marketing. Look at numbers, understand numbers, right? Understand business numbers. That's something that I always recommend. Is not just don't be in a silo, don't just look at marketing numbers, also invest time to understand business numbers. So those are the skills that you could definitely develop, but nobody expects this from you from day one. Definitely have an open mind to learning, and you could invest time and money in learning digital marketing before you take up a job. That would be helpful.
Right. I think, yeah. So moving on, next question, Bhuvana. Arif Khan is asking, what technology we have to learn for MarTech?
You don't need to be a developer to learn MarTech. You just need to be able, I mean, unless you're looking at a backend, role or a data analytics role, then you need to understand, it's good if you take up a data analytics course itself, right? Or Python and R, and, there are different technical courses that you could take up, which takes you towards a direction of data, right? If that's what you're looking at. So you'll be able to actually pull out insights from the data, or do different pulls of the data itself that business requires. Otherwise, from a MarTech perspective, or designing campaigns, or designing insights, or trying to build a strategy that is aligned to the data, you really don't need the technical knowledge per se. It's in the to actually work on. I'm saying it's good to have an inclination towards that. That's enough. But you need to be able to shortlist that MarTech that is required by your business. You don't have to always invest in the best of tools or the most expensive tools. You could look at what actually works for your business.
I think, yeah, Arif Khan is done. So next question, Bhuvana, as you said, you mentioned aligning marketing efforts to sales function. Like how to do this, Apurva is asking, and the business revenue part, can you give an example? Apurva, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. This question is not clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question was, like you mentioned about aligning marketing efforts to the sales function of any company. So how do you do that? Especially, how do you track the revenues which are being generated with the help of marketing department?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Apurva. One is, well, as I said, you need to understand your business. You need to be in alignment with sales as to which are the target segments they are going after, the target industries they are going after. Otherwise, let's say, for example, the industry wants business from manufacturing, and marketing is putting all their efforts in BFSI, right? It doesn't make sense. You'll keep continuing to get BFSI leads, which the business may or may not be able to service at all, right? So there will be a clear disconnect. So you need to have that alignment. You need to be able to collaborate with sales to understand what their alignment is with the organization, what their target audience is, what their target industry is, and where do they see revenue coming in from as well. So that's the first alignment that you need to do. And the data, as far as the data is concerned, it's called attribution. Like when you're able to put tags to your campaign, you will be able to actually track that lead from the beginning, from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel to the end of the funnel as well. You'll be able to actually track that using tools, technology, and even manually. I'm saying, if let's say your leads are not too huge in number, you definitely will be able to track which campaign has brought in that lead, and then you pass it on to the business, and then you're having continuous reviews with the business to see where that lead is ending up, whether it's actually being dropped because the customer was just browsing your web page, or just participated in a campaign, or participated in an event, but is actually not interested in your product. Then there is the sales people who are getting in contacting the customer and coming back with that response, or understanding of the customer better, and are able to put that into the review sheet, if you may, and then you will be able to see where that is leading to, and if you really need to retarget that customer at all, or should you be dropping them from the entire campaign itself, right? Typically about 3 to 4 touches will bring in, a customer from just engagement to a lead to a revenue conversion. That's one. And you would want to touch with the customer maybe like about 3 times, 3 repeats. After that, you consider that the customer is not interested at all unless they keep coming back to you and are consuming your campaign. Then you take that up and you start nurturing the customer, and you're able to bring them to, let's say, the bottom of the funnel and then hand it off to the sales. That's your marketing literally actually builds that funnel for sales to convert, right? So that's the key objective there. You got the...
Thank you, Bhuvana.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Apurva. Bhuvana, next question, Jay is asking, performance marketing these days is booming, right? So how performance marketing and data-driven marketing is related?
It's performance is all about data. So I did performance marketing for some time in my earlier organization, and every day you look at data. You start your day with data. You start looking at whether your campaign is actually performing, not performing, whether that channel is performing or not performing. It could be organic digital, it could be paid digital, it could be an event that you have taken up, or it could be advertising, it could be search. There's so many pillars to that, to performance marketing itself. And then you are actually analyzing with, you break it down like by each tactic, in fact, and then start evaluating whether that particular tactic is worked for you. But I mean, usually what you also do is you're outsourcing this to, let's say, third-party vendors, right? You're running search, you're running SEAs through third-party vendors, you're running events through third-party vendors. So whether that vendor is able to bring you the right customer which is got higher conversion versus another vendor who's able to bring better conversion to you. So those are things that you do day in, day out as a performance marketer, and that's, you live data, you eat, breathe, drink data every day in performance marketing. That's what it is. You're answerable to the money that is being spent on the campaign run by you're running the campaign yourself, but you're answerable for the conversions that happen through the funnel. And and every tactic is expected to be performing, and you're also driving that ROI calculation for every rupee that is spent or every dollar that goes into the campaign. So if you say you're defining the target, or you're given a target, let's say for every dollar spent, you're supposed to be bringing 3x revenue. So that's something that you keep looking out for, and then you're calculating that on a day-to-day basis. So that data is really, really important. And understanding of the data is also very critical. The conversions per se.
Yeah, so we are getting so many questions, Bhuvana. It's tough to choose. So as you said, before going to this kind of data-driven marketing, people should start investing on like some courses, so learning some tools. So Shabir Ahmed is asking, is it worth investing in digital marketing course?
Of course it is. I mean, as I said, it depends on what you want to do actually, but in today's world, I would definitely ask you to invest some time, energy, money in digital marketing for sure, because that's going to define the way you market. And especially after the pandemic, everything is digital. There is no face. While people still want to do face-to-face events and face-to-face interactions, but I think your customers have shifted online. They are okay with you being available online. They are okay with that online touch as well, and they're okay with the amount of online touch that is happening also, because they realize that is the way forward. And I think digital marketing is also going to continuously evolve, right? To a lot more personalization, a lot more micro-targeting and micro-personalization and stuff like that. So it's better you at least have a basic understanding of it, because then you'll be able to build on top of that as you move forward in your career in marketing. And there is no, I mean, we have, let's say PR, for example, which has been customarily print, right? You still want to read the paper and see whether your article is appeared or not. But still, most of the newspapers have gone online, so that's where you're reading your news. You're reading your news on InShots apps and stuff like that. So that's straightforward. That pillar is digital has taken over that pillar. If you see lead management, if you see thought leadership, if you see entire digital marketing of search, SEA, mobile marketing, everything is digital. So that's the way forward, and please do invest time and energy on understanding the basics. It's good to know what has happened so far, what's currently happening, and what is expected to happen also. And just like how Gautam was mentioning, this cookie-less marketing is coming up. So unless you understand what a cookie is and how you're able to target that customer, you won't be able to drive cookie-less marketing, right? So it's bring up yourself to speed so that you're able to take the future marketing also into your own stride.
All right. So Bhuvana, I'll take a moment, to tell about Antwork. So shall I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. So guys, let me take a moment and tell you, what we as an Antwork doing. We are an experiential learning movement and which is powered by, industry leaders like Bhuvana. So we believe in three philosophies. So first one, is learning from practicing professionals. Like today we are learning from Bhuvana. So what we did initially in Antwork is we bought experts all over the world. So they came and they have shared their experiential knowledge about what they learned from their job, not from bookish knowledge. So first one is, learning from practicing professionals, and second one is learning by doing stuff. As Bhuvana said, focusing on tools. So hands-on knowledge is more important, rather than, theoretical stuff. So, and third one is learning from live immersive classes. As you know, everything is shifted to digital right now. So we are in a webinar, so digitally. So we focus on live immersive classes. We don't believe in self-recorded classes because we think in live classes, the class and the education will be more effective. So believing on that, we as in Antwork, we introduced, master's program in digital marketing, which is a 16 weeks program. So we have experts from different companies like Amazon, Disney Hotstar, Bosch, Netflix. So those experts are coming and teaching you. And for those 16 weeks program, everything will be, real-time projects will be there, and for each module. So what this batch is doing, they worked on Google Ads campaign, they worked on Facebook ad campaign. Everything is real time. Everything is real time. All are hands-on. Now, currently, I think they are working on marketing analytics. They are using Google Analytics for their project. So everything is hands-on. And so tools, you can get your hands dirty on different tools. Like more than 15 plus tools like Google Ads, Elementor, Facebook Ads, Analytics, Ubersuggest. So, if you guys are interested, so you can check out to this link. I'll put the link in the chat box now. And some discount is also going on. So if you guys are interested, so please sign up. And then, we can connect and we can discuss more. And yeah, I think we can, if you're interested, so please check this link out. Yes. So next, Bhuvana, shall we take, I think it's 7:47. Shall we take few questions?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. So next question is, Pragya is asking, how is blockchain technology going to affect marketing?
It's still very nascent. Sorry, who was asking this question?
Pragya.
Pragya. It's still very nascent. But I think the way blockchain is looking at is in the transactions that are going to happen between customer and the organization. How can that blockchain essentially brings in that one-on-one connect and also a lot of transparency, right? If you understand blockchain, basically that's what it does. It allows for, without too much information being put out there, it allows for that connection to happen. So that's the way marketeers are looking at also investing in blockchain and also, bringing that transaction to the forefront with the customer. So that's one way of blockchain that's going to be used. And also in larger transactions between business and customers as well.
Thank you for the answer, Bhuvana.
All right. I'll ask another question. I think, one second, Disha is asking, Disha is asking some, I think her question is pretty big. So Disha, can you unmute yourself and ask? Then it will be easier for her to understand. Hello?
Yes, Disha.
Yeah, Disha. I think, okay, we can take other questions, Bhuvana. One second, let me check. Yes. Oh, some issues, she said some issues are there in her mic.
The question. See how it
Yeah,
goes.
we can take other questions. Jay is asking, do you need any data analytics kind of skills to excel digital marketing field?
If you are looking at that specific like market research, right, and data insights, there's called the marketing data insights division within marketing, then you definitely need that. And if you're also into lead management, it's good to have that skill also to be able to derive insights out of whatever data has been collected. And yeah, if that is the speciality that you want to look at, then definitely yes. But if you're looking at, let's say, campaign running or performance management, and so you don't need too much of an in-depth skill in that, but definitely knowledge is definitely, it's better that you have knowledge of it. Hope I answered the question.
Yes, I guess. Shom is asking, what are the jobs in marketing analytics?
I think I just said there is market research, and then you have MDI, which is marketing data, which is a market researcher. That's what it's called. And or you kind of grow within that particular pillar itself, right? And it's also about data analytics. You can be an analysis, analytics person. You can also have data design. You can do data designing. You can do data research alone. Also, you can take up, it depends on the organization actually. If the organization is large, then you have so many different roles. You could also look at automation as part of that particular thing, as an end of that role, based on data. Otherwise, if it's a smaller organization, then probably one or two people are doing just that, everything, and, taking analytics. They're also looking at driving insights, dashboard management, then providing that business connect solutions as well. So it depends on the size of the data itself.
All right. We have some other questions also. One second, let me ask you these questions. Yeah, Shom sends, thanks.
You can look at both quantitative, qualitative data. It depends on where your interests are.
Okay. Yeah, I think we discussed, Bhuvana, around, what are some jobs in data analytics, right? So I think, one second, let me I'm getting difficulties to find questions. One second. Okay. So another questions I just want to add, Bhuvana. So you said, handling data is very difficult. So can you tell some easier ways to our marketer to use data to improve their, marketing effort?
Sorry, I don't think getting data is difficult. It's
Yeah.
actually right. Getting data is easy. It's actually what sense you make of that is what is tough, right? If it's like data is in silos, let's say you're not accumulating the data in a particular, using technology to accumulate the data, or you don't have a dashboard, for example, or if you have not invested in a CRM or a marketing tool like HubSpot, then, or you don't have tools like Kissmetrics or Google Analytics, then it is tough for you to kind of sit the volume of the data itself, right? Any organization will have huge amount of data today. And I've said quintillions of data is collected every day only by marketing campaigns, by the way, that is, right? So that is something that I would say push for investing in a dashboard that allows you that visibility to the data also. And then uh, understand, first of all, start with eliminating the problem by understanding which customers you want to go after. That is for the first point. If you do a spray model, then you're going and getting a lot more unnecessary and valued data, or bad data, as I call it. Then you're obviously sitting and spending a lot more time in cleaning the data versus using the data that's coming to you to put in that marketing effort and tailor your campaign to that. So simple steps that you can take up on much before you start the campaign. Start with clean data, then you move to understanding how much money you have and where you want to put the data, and then seeing how much more conversion you can get out of that money. I think that's, I always tell people to invest in a specific person who is like either a data scientist or a marketing analytics person, to be able to focus on the data itself, right? So that way it is a lot more easy for the team to continuously evaluate that, and also to help the business run better.
All right. Bhuvana, as you said, there are more than trillion your data. So you said it is very challenging. So can you highlight some, challenges and how to cope up with the challenges in data-driven marketing?
Yeah, of course, there's lots and lots of benefits of data marketing strategy, of course, but it does have its own hurdles also. And I think I just mentioned a few, which is silo data and lack of coordination between various data sets within a company, right? Like somebody will collect data in different forms, different avatars, and then it comes to you, and then you have to make sense of that. Let's say incomplete, outdated, or even errorful in-house data. That is also a problem. Lack of knowledge about modern marketing techniques, that's another problem. So that gets back to the having the right skills within the team to be able to handle data. Fear of numbers in marketers, which I keep insisting on. Deriving the right insights from the available data, insufficient technology, or one-stop shops, right? Or the lack of it actually could be another challenge. If you're using, let's say, 10 tools to get data, then the heaviness of that tool itself could be a drawback. And it's also large institutions actually, kind of get through these hurdles. They understand that a strong data marketing strategy is within their reach, whether it's sourcing third-party data or bringing in team of data experts. So these are actually solutions to these problems, right? So that's easily handled by larger organizations, but if it is smaller organizations, at least take up a dashboard tool and a campaign tool which talk to each other and is able to consolidate the data. That's where the whole problem starts. If you're able to at least cross that hurdle, I think then you're much in a much better space.
All right. So last two questions, Bhuvana will take. First one is, can you tell us some benefits, of using big data in marketing?
I think it's all advantages, right? There is no two ways about that, and I think that's what we've been talking about all this while, about using, whether it's big or any data is useful, but big data actually needs a lot more investment in time and energy, and also understanding of that data. Also, big data in marketing is, it needs like AI, or lot more what do you say, intervention by AI, automation, and all of that. So massive amount of data gathering, analyzing also takes that much more efforts by the organization. And but it has huge advantages of personalizing marketing initiatives. So that is definitely, it also gives you that 360-degree view, right? That's what big data does. It allows that customer specific content where it's more effective. It allows you to improve online and in-store brand recognition, recall. It also is, it kind of serves as, let's say, between the, if you don't have the marketing budget of, let's say, HUL or Pepsi, or, then you should be able to use that big data to your advantage. It helps measures people's reaction to each marketing activity. So that's what big data analytics and business intelligence can definitely be improved by using this analytics and creating the positive changes in your products or services. And brand awareness is also another way big data can have a significant impact on marketing. So those are just a few advantages of using big data in marketing.
Right. So last question, Bhuvana. So if you want to give some tips, to our budding marketer, your very valuable tips to how to start with digital marketing or data-driven marketing. So yes.
Understand what marketing does first, right? That is the first step. Then you can delve deeper into what digital marketing does, and then look at becoming a data-driven marketer. And I go back to my point on remove fear of numbers, right? Work closely with business to understand what data makes sense to their outcomes, right? It's not just about, okay, marketing is doing this, this is the outcome we are driving. We are not bothered about what business does. That cannot be the approach. So understand where you actually are handing off this data to the business, and so that they're able to drive outcomes. What part of the funnel is marketing servicing or serving? That's important to understand, and take an interest in marketing stack and evaluate which ones actually make sense. Go a little deeper and understand them, how they work, and how they actually help you market your product or services. Have an understanding of calculation of the ROI, and to see if there is a direct or an indirect business benefit that you are deriving out of your campaigns and the data that you're providing, and invest in that tool itself. And I think many questions came about on skilling. Please skill yourself in specific areas of digital marketing, and also continue to skill yourself even after you've become a digital marketer or a marketer. It's important to keep in touch with the times. It's important to keep in touch with the latest in digital marketing, and understanding of how you are making a big difference to the business. So if you have that as the end goal, then I think every part of marketing is easy.
All right. Thank you so much, Bhuvna. Thanks a lot. Learned a lot today. I know Network is very grateful to have you in our platform. Thanks a lot. And so we have more questions. Someday we can take those questions. So thanks a lot for your time. And guys, we do this kind of events each week. Next week, 14th, I think in 14th August, we have one webinar also, that one also free webinar regarding problem solving skills as a marketer. So you can join that also. You can check on Network pages in LinkedIn. So you'll get the link and everything. And yeah, thanks a lot, Bhuvana. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks
Yes.
for all the questions as well.
Thank you guys for the question.
Take care.
Have a good. Thank you. Bye. And guys, if you are
Thank you.
interested, check that link out. Thank you so much.